Hi friends, and welcome back to my What Sold series, where I am taking you into a past thrift haul or thrift with me to share what has sold and what didn't. So this is video number 2 from my Thriftmas in July series, where we went into a thrift store every single day for the first 12 days of July, and now we're going through all of the items that I picked up during that series to see if they sold, if they didn't, if they sold quickly, if they are still sitting, and if they sold well, or if maybe I should not have picked them up, because it is important to go back through, analyze your sales to see, was it a good pickup? Did I make some bad decisions? Have the trends changed? And maybe I was working off past comps, but not current comps, all those types of things. So in the first video of this series, we went through days 1 and 2. And in this video, we're going to go through days 3 and 4. I'm not going to lie, day 1 and 2 were a little bit rough. I was in the profit, so I had made my money back plus a little bit more, but not as much as I would like to see. So let's dig into days 3 and 4 to see if I did any better. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please take a quick second to do so. It would mean the absolute world, and let's dig in. So as we go through each and every sale, I am going to be popping the footage up from the thrift with me just so you can remember what I'm actually talking about and what I picked up that day. So on Thriftmas day 3, I picked up only 7 items and I spent a total of $45.32. So that made my average cost of good per item $6.48. The first thing I picked up, at least on my list, I actually remember it being one of the last things I found in the thrift with me, were these Patagonia minimalist red board shorts. These were women's style, and I knew that this style was going to do well. They've done well for me in the past. They don't sell super high, but they typically sell pretty quickly, and it was a great time of year to be selling them. So this one on Poshmark, I remember selling it like immediately after I listed it. I got really lucky. I listed it, and then by the time I had listed my next item that night, this had already sold, and it sold in less than a day for my full asking price of $35, and I made $21.52. So that was a great way to start out this haul. Of course, I was feeling pretty good about it. Next thing I picked up was this Joseph A. Bank 100% linen striped shirt. This was a men's style. It was very nautical, very beachy. Again, perfect for the summer. I listed it and it sold on Poshmark for $22 in 11 days. That was an offer I accepted. It was a bit lower than I had hoped. I think I listed this for $35, but Joseph A. Bank is hit or miss for me, and most recently has been more on the miss side. So I wanted to move it along quickly. I didn't want to be stuck with it. I have some sweaters that I picked up in Thriftmas from last Christmas, and they're still sitting. So I really wanted to move this along, and I ended up making $8.80. Next was a Ming Wang pink cardigan. It was a size extra large. It was in excellent condition. I've only sold Ming Wang a couple times, but if I find it, I would certainly continue to pick it up. It sold on Poshmark for $29, also in just 11 days, and I made $14.40. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think those last 2 items both sold with my 30% off offer to likers that I typically run on Sundays, and so they both also included discounted shipping. The next one is one I'm most surprised that has not yet sold, and it was this Athleta Eastbound blazer. It's like a nice slouchy blazer, kind of athleisure almost, like you probably wouldn't work out in it, obviously, but it's something that you could wear to the office and still be very comfy, very casual, but still be career and professional if you need it to be. And it was in a larger size, but this has not yet sold. I stand by this decision. I think it will sell. Maybe I have it priced too high. It has gotten a lot of attention through the months, so hopefully it sells quickly. And yeah, well, we will see. Stay tuned to my other ship with me's and what sold videos, and we'll see if that one ends up selling. Next one I fell in love with, and it was this New With Tags Lulu's pink sheer floral dress. Now, I see Lulu's a lot at the thrift store, and at the beginning of my reselling, I picked up like everything Lulu's. Nowadays, not so much. At Goodwill retail prices for me, it is at minimum $8.59 to buy a dress at Goodwill, and they usually have them priced up from there. If they're new with tags, they're typically at least $17. They did not have this one priced up to $17. So I picked this up for $8.59 because it was new with tags and because it was absolutely stunning. It had this beautiful floral details beading all over. It was like sheer in the right places, but still covered in the right places, if you know what I mean. I would have loved to wear this summer. Obviously, A, I didn't have anywhere to wear it, and B, it was new tag, so I wouldn't have been able to then still sell it as new tag. This sold on Poshmark for $67. I remember having it listed for $75, and someone scooped it up with my 10% off offer with discounted shipping. It sold in 32 days, and I made $44.80. So this one goes to show, Lulu's is not always a pickup, but it is definitely not always a pass either. Lulu's has the style name on their inner tag, so I always try that first, and sometimes it brings it up. To be honest, sometimes it doesn't, and it didn't bring it up for this dress for some reason. So I just did a Google Lens reverse image search, and it often does bring up the Lulu's dress. So try both of those methods if you're trying to run comps on Lulu's items. I saw that this had really good comps and had a really good sell-through, so I certainly was happy to pick it up. Now the next two items unfortunately have not yet sold. One was this COS abstract blouse. It was a really cool like brown, black. If I ran into this again today, I probably would still pick it up, but it was a size extra small, which I know is a bit harder to sell. I have sold COS a variety of times, but in the larger sizes, the good thing about it being an extra small was that it fit me, and I wore it to work a couple times, got a lot of compliments on it, so at least it hasn't been completely just sitting and gathering dust. I still got some use out of it, but not yet sold. And then lastly were these Mini Melissa pink sandals. If you're not familiar with Mini Melissa, they're really cute. They make a lot of like jelly sandals for girls, and they have like a sweet scent to them. I'm actually surprised this one has not yet sold because Mini Melissa, I picked it up a variety of times over the summer, and everything else except these has sold. So it might just be luck. They might have to wait until next summer to sell. Maybe by the time I got them listed in July timeframe, people already had the sandals they needed for the year. So fingers crossed on this one. So again, for all 7 of those items, I paid $45.32. I have sold 4 out of the 7, so at least I am above 50% sell-through rate as of right now. And with those 4 items sold, I am already in the profit, so I have made all of my cost of goods back, and I am in the profit $44.20. Also remember, we're only about 90 days in, so to have over 50% sell-through on those items is great. With my business model, I do have storage, so I'm able to hold on to things longer than some resellers that want, like a really, really quick sell-through because they're just churning through items. So $44.20 in the green, and I do still have those 3 items left to sell, and I still stand behind the pickups for those 3 items. To be honest, if I were to run into them again today, I would still pick those 3 up. That is not always the case in this video. In the first part of the video, days 1 and 2, I told you a couple items that I probably should have left behind. That takes us into Thriftmas in July, day 4. I got a whole bunch of items, so hold on for this one. I picked up 15 items for a total spend of $100.24. My average cost of goods that day was $6.69. I picked up a few men's items in this haul. I was really excited about that. A lot of pants, actually, and also some others, such as this Travis Mathew black polo shirt. This was very bread and butter. Travis Mathew is not always a pickup, but since this was a decent size, I did end up picking it up, and it sold on Poshmark for $25. It sold in 19 days, and I made $13.31, so I was pretty happy with that, actually. Next was a pretty interesting find, and it was this Cactus Jack Travis Scott t-shirt. It had a really cool graphic on it. Like, I grabbed it off of a new rack because it just looked cool, and I had to Google Lens it to even see what it was, and I found a lot of them over on eBay. I think this is one that just takes a specific buyer, so I might have to sit around a little bit longer. I do have it listed a little bit high too because I wasn't really sure where the value was, because there were really good solds on this specific graphic, but it's hard to tell because there's lots of different graphics. So we will see as this one moves along if I do end up lowering the price to make sure it gets sold. First thing I found, I remember finding this first right off the first new rack I looked at, was the Smartwool pink quarter zip. This was also a women's size extra small, so I think it took a little bit longer to sell than most Smartwool pieces I pick up do, and then eventually sold on Poshmark for $29 after 67 days, and I made $16.51. Smartwool is such a good brand. I love when I can find it because it usually sells quick and it usually sells pretty well. I always use the term performance merino wool, usually in the title, but definitely at least in the description, because sometimes people are looking for that specifically. If you've been following along, you know I like picking up little girls' dresses in specific brands, and one of those brands is Janie and Jack. I found this new without tags Janie and Jack pink dress. It still had the manufacturer hang tag on it, impeccable condition, so I did list it as new without tags. It's sold on Poshmark. I accepted an offer for $20. I usually list these around $35. It was listed for 87 days, and I made $9.31. Kids' dresses are so easy for me to photograph. Also easy for me to list. I don't do measurements of kids' items, so that's one thing that's faster in photographs, faster in listing that I don't have to worry about. So $10 for a quick clip, I'll take it. My favorite women's find of the day were these Cozy Earth pants. Cozy Earth was a brand I didn't know about for the first couple years, honestly, that I was reselling. So if you don't know, please know now. Cozy Earth is really nice, like loungewear, minimalist type style, and they use a lot of really good materials. They use a lot of organic cotton, bamboo, things like that. And I found these in the loungewear, like the pajama section. Picked them up. They were women's larger size, just like a pull-on elastic waist, sweatpants, loungewear pants, pajama pants. I used all of those in the listing. And they sold on Poshmark for $55 after just 44 days, making me $37.31. I have only found Cozy Earth one time before this, and it also sold really well. It was a t-shirt, but for these pants to sell for $55, wow, just wow. I really hope I run across that brand again soon. Next one is disappointing, and I will tell you why. Because it is these Public Rec Deal Maker pants. Really, really great, beautiful condition, olive green. These are men's pants. Public Rec is another one I didn't know about for a little while. These did sell, but unfortunately got returned for fit. So they have been newly listed and they have not yet resold. Hopefully they will sell again soon, but right now I didn't count them towards my profit because as of right now I have not made profit on them since they were returned the first time around. But certainly keep an eye out for Public Rec. The buttons have a P on them, but they are easy to miss. Next, in the same vein as Thriftmas Day 3, was another new with tags pink Lulu's dress. This was the Alorna dress. It was a really beautiful style, not quite as unique as the one the day before that had all the beading and colorful on it. This one has not yet sold, unfortunately. However, it has been getting a lot of attention. I think I originally listed them both at $75. I think by now I have dropped this down in price once, maybe to $65. Not yet sold. High hopes for it though, just because of how much traction it has been getting in my closet, especially on Poshmark. Next is one I'm still a bit uncertain about. It was a Rains black vest. Now Rains I was not familiar with, but it had a really big, interesting tag that I did look up. It also looks to be unisex, so I never know quite where to list unisex. I tend to list it based on who I think it will fit better. So I listed this in men's, but also put that it was unisex for women's. I listed it high because I wasn't quite sure, but I don't know. It hasn't yet sold. I haven't also been seeing a ton of traction on it, just a little bit. So if you have any experience with this brand, please let me know. I'd be very interested in knowing if others have success or if you have things sitting as well. One of my absolutely favorite women's brands to sell is AYR. It sells so great for me, and I found these new without tags because they also had the manufacturer hang tag still on the inside. AYR black jeans. These were the style called the Pop. These were a short style, which is why I think they actually took a little bit longer than normal. They still sold quick, but usually they will sell in like the first month for me. These sold on Poshmark for $67. I also had these listed at $75, so someone got my 10% off offer, which is kind of chipping, and accepted it. These sold in 62 days, making me $44.59. Back into the good menswear, because if you remember, I found a whole bunch of men's pants. They kind of got mixed up in my writing here when I wrote them down, but I found a lot of good men's pants, and this one is no exception. It was my first time finding this brand also, and that is Cotopaxi. I've always seen their bags, so I kind of expected that somewhere down the road I would find one of their bags to sell. I didn't expect the first thing I'd find would be their pants, but again, I'm not mad at it. So these were their Subo pants, and they sold on eBay for $39.60 and sold in just 24 days, and I made $26.71. Also remember getting really nice positive feedback on these, so very happy with that sale. Unfortunately, back into an item that has not yet sold were these Madewell Classic Straight jeans. I think these were women, but I found in the men's pants. I do remember looking these up to check comps because I've been struggling to sell Madewell jeans. These ones still are not sold, as I said. So yeah, I need to be more careful with Madewell. Maybe this one was a bad pickup. Maybe if I went today, this is one I would leave behind. The next two things were my favorite find of the day, and that is because they were tailor stitch. I've been talking about tailor stitch a lot on my channel, but if you have not heard of it, this is another one like Cozy Earth that you don't want to miss in the thrift store. Tailor Stitch is a high-end menswear brand. They do make some women's wear, or at least they used to make some women's wear, but don't anymore. I'm not sure, I'm sorry, but there is some women's wear floating around in the thrift. It's usually also worth picking up, but the menswear is going to do much better. I found two pairs of khaki pants that day. One was the Tailor Stitch Slim Pants. This pair sold on Poshmark for $45 in just 21 days, making me $29.31. The next pair were the foundation pants. And these ones sold on eBay for $45, but they sold in just 7 days, making me 29 cents. So Tailor Stitch for me always sells almost immediately, has a really good return on your investment. Don't miss this tag. Next, I found a women's pair of Levi's wedgie jeans. These are very bread and butter for me. I tend to always pick them up if they're in good condition. This pair sold on Poshmark for $31 in just 21 days, making me $15.79. And the last, and unfortunately least because it hasn't sold yet, were these little Nike toddler shoes. These are the Roche. I'm very sorry if I'm making that pronunciation up, but little baby toddler shoes, like as small as you can get. Like the baby's not even walking yet. They looked basically brand new, and they have not yet sold. I do remember getting a really bad offer that I countered. I think I have them listed at $35, and someone offered me like $12 or something like that, and then I countered and they didn't pick them up. So I do think these will sell. Again, they're just going to take a little bit longer for some reason, but if I found these again today, I would still pick them up. So let's go ahead and recap Thriftmas day 4. Again, total spent was $100.24. So I spent quite a bit more on day 4 than day 3. I picked up 15 items, and as of today, 9 of them have sold and 6 of them have not yet sold. So again, I'm at over 50% sell-through at 90 days. I am happy with that. I know the public rec will sell again soon. The Alorna Lulu's dress, I think, will sell based on how much traction it's getting. The Rains one, I'm not super convinced about, but it does look good and it looks quality. Madewell, probably just need to discount, and I'm not going to make a ton on those. And I think the Nike toddler shoes will eventually sell between like 20 and 25. So with the 9 items that have sold, I have made all $100 of my initial investment back, and I am in the profit $121.60. Again, with 6 items left to sell, which will all then purely be profit. So between the 2 days, I am in the profit almost $200. That does make me feel pretty good because, again, when we were doing these quick Thriftmas trips, I'm usually not in the thrift store very long. We're mostly focusing on the new carts and the new racks. I did end up going through some of the men's pants that day, which I'm very happy I did because it's where I found 5 or 6 of those really good items. But again, for a quick trip with things that aren't going to take me super long time to process, $200 at the 90-day mark with 6 plus 3 with 9 items still to sell to make me some profit. All right, and that is it. Stay tuned to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss days 5 and 6 will be the next video coming up. I also filmed over the weekend the thrift hauls from my fun free swap meet that I go to, so those will be coming up on my channel soon. And I'm really excited to show you guys some really fun stuff I picked up, as well as, of course, some fun footage from the swap. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll say it one more time. Give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.